Is there a way to have an advanced telephone system, also known as a PBX, without having to pay a very high monthly payment? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your own telephone system, also known as a PBX, cloud-based, but with all the advanced features such as IVR, auto attendant, call hunting, voice to text, voice to email, multiple extensions, all the necessary features. So stay tuned, let's get started. Hi, my name is Freddie Dubon, and in this channel, I provide tips and tricks for your business that will save you time and money. Let's start with the end in mind. Let's go ahead and start with defining the problem. A customer came to me and said, I would like to set up a telephone system for at least 50 employees or 50 extensions. Every employee is gonna need an extension. So we need at least 50 extensions. We need an IVR system, which is an interactive voice response system, which is the one that responds when you call and says, thank you for calling, Freddie Dubon. If you would like sales, please press 1. For marketing, press 2. So you get the idea. That's pretty much what an IVR system is. I also want to make sure that I have a voicemail for every extension. I would like to have a group that if somebody calls sales and they choose sales, then that is going to ring 4 different agents so that I have a group of people that are going to be handling sales. So there's a lot of different requirements. They said they would like to have some soft phones for remote users. A soft phone is a telephone that is loaded on the computer itself. It's not a physical phone, but it looks and it acts like a regular phone, but it's not a physical device. They also said that they would like to have some physical phones, so just regular desk phones on the desk, and they want this to be voice over IP, which means that there's not going to be any new wiring. If they have a connection to the internet, they can connect to the system, and that's pretty much those are the main things that they want. Oh, in addition, actually, I forgot one thing. They said that they would like to have the ability for the system to recognize the time. So if it's within business hours, they get one message, and if it's after hours, they get another message. The customer gets another message that says, you have reached us after hours, and so on and so forth. If you would like to leave a message, please do so. So based on these requirements, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the design phase first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to design this, and then I'm going to show you how to implement this, from the installation of the box to setting it up and configuring everything. So let's go ahead and start with the design process. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the architecture, how this is going to be set up. And this is very important because when you have a map, then it's easy to follow the map and be able to get to the destination. So let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to set this up. So we have an office, and I'm going to call this office. And in the office, we have customers or clients or employees. And they said that we need 50 extensions, which means 50 employees. They said that the solution needs to be cloud-based. So that means that we need a cloud provider. For the purpose of this specific video, I'm going to be using Azure to demonstrate how this is going to work. They also said that we need to have a cloud-based PBX, so we need a PBX. So this is where the PBX is going to live. And the way that we're going to set it up is we're going to set it up in something called a VM, a virtual machine. So it's a cloud-based server. So it's going to be a server, but it's going to be living in this Azure cloud provider area. So it's not going to be a physical server at the office. The way that this is going to work is that the extensions are going to connect into this PBX. One of the requirements that we saw is that it needs to be voice over IP. So that means that this connection here is going to be over the internet. So there's no specific wiring. If you have a connection to the internet, you can connect to the PBX. That's how it's going to work. When you set up the extensions, typically you set up extensions like 100, 101, 102, 103. We can say that Betty is going to be 103, Sally is going to be 100. So we give it a name. It doesn't need to have a name, but typically you do give it a name. We also have what we called a telephone provider. So in this case, I'm going to be using Telnyx. This is our phone provider. So the way that this is going to work is like this. So we have a customer, and the customer is going to dial a number, a telephone number. The telephone number is going to be given to us by Telnyx. So I'm just going to say 788, just any number, any telephone number. And there is a big thing about how this telephone number works and how it's routed. I'm not going to go through that at the moment, just because this is not a video on how this PSTN or the telephone, the switch telephone network works. This is on how we're going to set this thing up. Now with the phone provider, we have something that is called a trunk. And a trunk is a channel that gives you multiple lanes. And I usually say channel, it's lanes. And reality is how many connections, how many concurrent connections you can have at every point in time. So if I say that I'm going to have a 10-line trunk, that means that I can have 10 concurrent connections at any point in time. It's a combination of whatever, 5 calls going out and 5 calls coming in, or a mixture of anything. So it could be 7 and 3, 3 and 7. You can have 3 calls going out and 7 calls coming in. It doesn't really matter. That's just the trunk, how it works. You can have 20, you can have 100. It really is up to you. And this is a design consideration when you need to find out how many concurrent connections you need. For the purpose of this video, though, I'm just going to leave it at 10. There's going to be a 10-line trunk, and that the way that it works is a customer calls a number, which in this case is going to be the 778. This number is connected to a trunk, so this is going to come into what is called an IVR. Remember, that was one of the requirements as well. So the PBX has an IVR, and again, this is an interactive voice response system, and the one that says, thank you for calling Freddie Dubon. For sales, press 1. And the IVR is typically, and I'll talk about this in a minute a little bit more in detail, but an IVR, all it is just a routing system. So it says, for example, IVR says for sales, press 1. For marketing, press 2. For what would be the other one? Customer service, press 3. And all it is the routing, which can say sales is going to go to Betty, marketing is going to go to Sally, so it's going to go to extension 100. Customer service can go to extension 101. So this is pretty much how you set it up. Again, the IVR is something that you have to set up prior, so you know how the routing is going to take place. The other thing that the IVR has is extensions. So usually it says, if you know your party's extension, please dial it at any time. So this right here is where if somebody wants to get a hold of Sally and they know Sally's extension, they can just type 100 and that connection is going to go to Sally automatically. So that's pretty much how this is going to work and how we're going to create it. The other thing that the requirement that we saw was remote employees. How is this going to work? Well, if we have a remote employee, let's put them outside of the office. let's just say this is a remote employee. All it is pretty much another connection into the PBX, but from outside. The only thing to consider here is security. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about when we start setting up our PBX. How and who can connect into the PBX. Just again, you don't want to leave it open for the whole world, because if you do, then most likely the whole world is going to try to connect into it. And there's a lot of bad people out there that are just trying to find things that they can play with. And if they find your PBX, they're going to start trying to play with it. And most likely they're going to just make it work extra hard. So let's protect our PBX. Let's protect our resources, just as how we're going to protect the office. So this is pretty much how we're going to create this system. So now you know how to design a professional voice over IP cloud-based telephone system for your business or for your clients. The next step is to set it up in the cloud provider. In this case, we're going to be using Microsoft Azure, and then set up the connections to Telnyx and actually set up the extensions. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel. This helps me increase my audience. Since this is a new channel, I would appreciate it very much. Until next time, thank you so much.